Welcome everyone back to another video. Today we're going to be doing an alternate history video, not a prediction. So this alternate history election, it's an election, of course, is the matchup of well, not the matchup, but in the scenario that John F. Kennedy was never assassinated. If John F. Kennedy had ran in the 1964 presidential election against Barry Goldwater. Now, on November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, of course, as we know, by Lee Harvey Oswald, and, but of course there's all those conspiracy theories, which, I definitely believe that could be true. But anyway, but at the time, he was very popular. He took a strong stance on communism. Many think that he wouldn't, and when he narrowly won the presidency in 1960. But then, in 1963, he's assassinated. And who steps in? Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, who comes from the state of Texas. Now, the 1964 election is coming up. LBJ, people say that Kennedy, right before he was assassinated, or right after he was assassinated, I should say, was going to bring other troops back from Vietnam because nothing was really, getting done, and there weren't many troops there yet. And then he was assassinated. And Johnson, we definitely know since he was president, he did not bring troops home, that went into the Nixon administration in 1968, 4 years later than 1964. But 1964, Lyndon Johnson won a second term. Against of course, Johnson is the Democrat, and Barry Goldwater, an Arizona senator, is the Republican nominee. He just narrowly captures a win in the California primary, Barry Goldwater against Nelson Rockefeller, and that wins him the nomination. But his nomination process is very slim. He did not win the nomination by wide margins. At the convention he did, but not in the primary. When you look in the total vote in the primaries, it was not close at all. It was not a landslide at all. So Barry Goldwater was not very popular among the Republican Party or the Democratic Party in 1964 during this 64 matchup of Johnson versus Goldwater. Goldwater lost by big margins. Goldwater managed to carry his home state of Arizona by less than 1%. And then the only other states that he carries are Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and I believe that's it, actually. Maybe Georgia. Maybe, but I can't be sure. So what if Kennedy was never assassinated? So Kennedy versus Goldwater. Now, Goldwater will, and this might surprise some of you, but Goldwater will pick up a few states that he didn't. See, I was reading Nixon's White House Wars by Pat Buchanan. It's a very good book. I recommend it. And he explains it very well. Kennedy was a popular president, and that just made Johnson even more popular. Because no one thought that Kennedy really had much potential in 1960. But in 1964, if Kennedy, and then of course Kennedy proved them all wrong. In 1964, Johnson is a new president. He hasn't gotten to do much. So, Americans have learned that presidents have potential. So they did not want to get rid of Lyndon B. Johnson because they believed that he did have potential. So many people voted for LBJ, and Barry Goldwater was seen as an extremist conservative. He made weird comments about Social Security, atomic bombs. He called atomic bombs merely another weapon. He did not want to officially recognize the Soviet Union. Of course, people didn't really like the Soviet Union, but that was seen as an insane thing to do. And of course, he wanted to abolish the income tax and all that. Of course, again, the income tax wasn't very popular, but abolishing it is just too radical, right, for some of these people. So again, in the actual 1964 election, LBJ won every state besides Arizona, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. Now, I do believe that Barry Goldwater will hang on to all of the states that he did against Lyndon B. Johnson. The southern states, of course, he won. And this was hard. Well, it wasn't hard, I shouldn't say. But LBJ definitely had a chance, right, in these states because LBJ came from the state of Texas. He was appealing to these voters, especially in a state like Arizona, which has the same climate, all of that. Goldwater came relatively close, I guess you could say. to winning Texas. But I think with LBJ still on the ticket, I think this is a state that would still have to stay in the Kennedy column, if LBJ, as I said, is once again the Democratic nominee. Um, Kennedy will be pretty popular among African Americans. I think enough to hold on to the state of Georgia, and Florida, the city, or the what do you call it? The population is rising here. I think he would be popular enough to carry the state of Florida. However, I will give Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina to Barry Goldwater because these are more rural regions of the country, and John F. Kennedy won't be hugely popular in rural regions like this. But this Northeast, this is gonna be JFK territory. All these very liberal states in this Northeast, these are gonna be solid for Kennedy because remember, Kennedy is a Massachusetts Catholic, very liberal. I see New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, even Pennsylvania, Delaware, all going for John F. Kennedy. Of course, West Virginia used to be a Democratic bloc. I would definitely see this going for Kennedy, and Virginia, even today, it's pretty liberal. I would give that to Kennedy. And of course, Washington, D.C. is going to go for John F. Kennedy. Kentucky, I see as a Barry Goldwater state. These more rural regions and everything like that. I think this would be Barry Goldwater, territory. One of the closest states in the election was Idaho, and I will give the state to Barry Goldwater. It went to Johnson by only a lean margin, and that's pretty insane. That's not really much, I guess, for today. In today's politics, I mean, it is basically, but in an election like 1964, that was very slim. But Idaho used to be one of the most, and it pretty much is today, one of the most conservative states in the country. Like, we go to the 1972 presidential election, the American Independent Party, John Schmitz, who you probably never even have heard of, he did best in the state. He didn't win the state of Idaho, but out of all the states, he did the best in Idaho. So I do think that this would be a Goldwater state. I know Nebraska was also pretty slim. Let me see if we could get this. Nope, sorry. Sorry about this. Yeah, we can get to the 1964 map here. This will help us a lot. Here it is. I know you can't see all of it, but hey, just deal with it. Barry Goldwater actually won Georgia and South Carolina in the actual election, so I will have to give Barry Goldwater Georgia. I could have sworn LBJ won it, but anyway, I know you can't see it, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, see, all other states went to LBJ. So yeah, Johnson only won Idaho by 1.8%, but he manages to carry all of these. He only won Nebraska by 5.2%. And remember, Kennedy is going to lose this rural appeal. So, I think Barry Goldwater would narrowly pull out a win in the state of Nebraska. Yeah, nothing is going to change in these states, really. Yeah, I think... Yeah, I will leave Florida in the Kennedy column, I suppose. Guys, this won't be very exciting, but I'm going to give, I believe, every other state to John F. Kennedy. In these big cities, he really will connect with voters more than Lyndon B. Johnson. I'll give Goldwater, Alaska, but Kennedy will win by wide margins. However, LBJ ultimately manages to win by wider margins. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all next time.